little engagement time. That's fine. And that sort of stuff sold in Istanbul for about $500 a piece. I mean, we had a Pakistani guide with us. I said, take me to the place where they sell this stuff. We did, and I bought a lot of stuff, and my Pakistani friend said, okay, I'm going to bargain for you. He bargains there almost, coming to face. They're speaking in Urdu. I get none of it. And he comes, okay. He was asking for 1,000, but I think we can do 400. I said, I took out my wallet. I had two brand new Benjamins. I said, here's $200. You got 5 minutes to decide. He says, oh, my kids are going to stay hungry, yada, yada, yada. I said, okay. 5 minutes up. I said, I'm leaving. Of course, 30 seconds later, the boy is running after me. If you were an American, you would have probably paid 800 and be very happy about it. I think I bought four of those things and some other stuff. I would have spent in Istanbul for the same thing over $2,000. So you need to bargain. And I even bought one for my sister. She was very happy. These are very expensive. Not in Karachi, they're not. All right. We got about 15, 12 minutes. Now, on the other hand, if yield to maturity is below the coupon rate, oops, I forgot that I turned the keyboard off. Now the price is above the face value. These bonds are called premium bonds. Again, there is nothing premium about them. All that says is coupon rate is above the yield to maturity. Issuers can decide what the coupon rate is. There are bonds with zero coupons. You know what that means? This is a 10-year bond. You pay the issuer, given that's the yield to maturity, $8,195 and some change, and you twiddle your thumbs for 10 years, then you get $10,000. That's it. That's the only cash flow. Those are called pure discount bonds. But this is a very deeply discounted bond. If yield to maturity was what it is these days, about 5, you'll pay 6,000 now, but get 10,000 back 10 years from now. This could be a better deal than some of the premium bonds. In fact, back in early 80s, IBM issued a 50-year zero coupon bond, and those days the interest rates were about 8. So let's see what would that have been. At 8%, 50-year-old bond, 50-year bond, you would pay only $198, wait for 50 years, and get 10,000 back. Does that mean that's a bad bond? No, it's just a different cash flow. So don't attach any value to the terms premium and or discount. They do have tax consequences for corporations, because corporations, they have to pay taxes on the coupons, which is kind of an interest payment. But if it is a discount, technically you're getting even more interest. So you have to kind of apportion that. Well, if it's a premium, it's the other way around. Now, a lot of times you actually know what the market price is. You need to figure out what is the yield to maturity that's what give that price. For example, again, something screwy happened there. No, thank you. Let's go to rates and bonds. Actually, let me go to CNBC. Let me go to markets, bonds. This is kind of indicative numbers for the 30-year bond. Let's see what the price is. 96, 51, 56. In quotations like that, they assume a face value of $100. So I'm going to convert that to 10,000. So I'm going to move the decimal 2 positions to the right. So this thing is trading at $651.56. So let me enter that. Oops. Good. And let's find out what the coupon rates on that bond was. 425. These are indicative rates. I don't have that fat fingers, but somehow I did that. So if yield to maturity is 8%, this bond should be trading at 54.05. That means it's lower than that. How about 4? Then it would have been above that. Now, the civilized people who are not going to do any of that. You know why I made this template. First, I'm going to change my unknown. What I don't know is yield to maturity. Okay. And as soon as I put this in solver mode, it's going to find the yield to maturity that would have given me exactly the same bond value as the market. Done. That's the yield to maturity of this bond. I normally, there are other ways to do it. There is actually an Excel function called rate, but I don't want to use 4 different functions for 4 different things. Or you could do something called goal seek, which this thing does internally. And sometimes I may ask you, given the yield to maturity, what do you think the coupon rate is if this is the price? So let me put this back into setup mode. I know I'm going to solve for the coupon rate. And I'm telling you, this thing is trading at $10,345. Yield to maturity is 450. I want to know what coupon rate would give me that price. I already changed my unknown. Go into solver mode, done. This is why I made this one. Again, as I was talking to somebody, this is not limited to bonds. Anytime you have something that depends on multiple number of inputs and you want it to solve for an unknown input, given you know other inputs and you know the result, this applies. In mathematics, in algebraic topology, this is called an isomorphism. In topology, it's called a homeomorphism. It's basically, for all intents and purposes, those two problems are identical. I can map one problem into the other, one to one and on to. And the whole thing shows itself. This could have been a very complicated problem where I am trying to figure out net present value from a project, and there may be uncertainties involved, which we're going to do in chapter 8. And I want to know what's my break-even rate for sales, for example. All that other calculations will happen in the background, more than likely in one or more other sheets. But I have access to where the inputs are and where the output is. I don't even need to know. This could be somebody, my GA could have prepared that part of it. And if I have this part, this interface, I'm going to say, what is my break even? That means make my MPV 0 by changing the sales. That's what GoSeek does for you, right? And during the summer break, I'm going to actually do multiple input unknown version of this. That's a little bit more complicated, but the idea is the same. Or I can even do what would be the maximum value you could achieve given that you're free to change these inputs. And this whole thing is triggered by changes in these inputs. Anytime one of the change inputs are changed, everything is recalculated. So if this becomes a 30-year bond, oops, now to get the same value, you need a little bit higher coupon. It also nicely highlights the unknown, so you know that that's the thing that's being changed. And if you want to know how that is done, I'll teach you at some point. You do a conditional formatting. Based on the value of a formula, you change the format of a given cell. Let's stop here. Remember, there is jeopardy on Monday unless there is an act of God. Okay? The insurance people have a name for that. And I'll let you know by Friday which groups are going to be there and the seating arrangements.